Wars usually shift with explosions, invasions, or new front lines. But at the end of the Second World War, the most dangerous shift began with something far quieter, a blur of metal streaking past the formation of flying fortresses before anyone could even understand what they had seen. For Allied pilots, it felt impossible. One moment the sky was clear, the next a silver dart sliced across their path at a speed no piston engine could ever reach. It was their first encounter with the Messerschmitt Me-262, the first operational jet fighter in human history. By the year 1943, the German Air Force was being crushed in the air. American B-17 and B-24 bombers struck day and night, while P-51 Mustangs tore through German defenses with brutal efficiency. Fuel was short, pilots were scarce, time was running out, and then, deep inside a hidden facility, a door slid open to reveal a secret Germany had been developing quietly since before the war even began, the turbojet engine, a machine that screamed when it started, as if tearing its way into the future. But no one knew the truth yet. Would this new aircraft save Germany or consume the pilots who dared to fly it? The answer begins when you look inside the machine itself. At first glance, the Me-262 looked familiar. A low wing, a single cockpit, two engines under each wing. But when those engines roared to life and white-hot exhaust blasted out the back, aviation changed forever. No propeller, no roaring piston engine, only the pure relentless thrust of two turbojets inhaling air, compressing it, igniting it, and throwing it backward faster than anything the world had seen. The design philosophy was radical and ruthless. Sacrifice stability at low speed in exchange for overwhelming speed at altitude. The swept wings reduced drag, the smooth fuselage sliced the air cleanly, the tricycle landing gear was advanced for its time, at least on paper. Inside the cockpit, pilots entered a new world. Gone was the familiar vibration of a piston engine. Instead came the eerie rising whine of the jet and a dangerous delay between pushing the throttle and feeling the aircraft respond. Push too hard or too quickly, and the turbojet could fail catastrophically. Blades could melt, snap, or explode. Pilots described the Me-262 as sitting inside the future, a future that could kill them if they were 1 second careless. But once mastered, this aircraft unleashed a kind of firepower the Allies had never faced before. What came next was designed to tear bomber formations apart. Speed made the Me-262 terrifying, but its weapons made it legendary. In the nose sat four 30mm automatic cannons, each firing explosive rounds so powerful that one or two hits could tear the wing off a B-17. Pilots said that pulling the trigger felt like someone punching the jet backward, while the bomber in their sights simply detonated. Some versions carried unguided rockets mounted under the wings. They did not need precision. They were fired in clusters into the thickest part of Allied formations, creating a storm of shrapnel meant to shred anything inside it. In theory, a full squadron of Me-262s could annihilate a bomber formation in minutes. But reality was cruel. The jet moved so fast that a pilot often had less than 1 second to aim, fire, and pull away. They could not dogfight like a Mustang. They had to attack with surgical precision, one pass, one burst, then escape before escort fighters reacted. And it was during that escape that the Allies discovered their advantage. The next part shows why the Me-262 was both powerful and painfully fragile. On paper, the Me-262 looked unstoppable. On the ground, it was a logistical disaster. Every jet required teams of mechanics, specialists for the engines, specialists for the airframe, specialists for electronics, specialists for ammunition. The engines lasted only a few dozen flight hours. They had to be replaced constantly in a country where factories were being bombed every day. Pilot training was rushed. Many came straight from piston aircraft with barely any time to understand the strange behavior of jets. Takeoff required a long runway. Landing required absolute precision. One wrong movement of the throttle, and the engine could die during the most vulnerable seconds of flight. The Allies noticed this quickly and exploited it ruthlessly. P-51s began patrolling above German airfields. They did not need to fight the Me-262 in the sky. They only had to catch it during takeoff or landing when the jet was slow, heavy, and unable to accelerate. Soon, every Me-262 mission became a death lottery. But for the pilots who dared to climb into the cockpit, the next phase of the war would become a burning, chaotic nightmare. When the jets finally entered the front lines, the sky over Europe changed instantly. Allied pilots described seeing a silver phantom streak across their formation, followed by a distant explosion as a bomber went down in flames. On rare days, when enough jets managed to take off, a single German unit could shoot down half a dozen, sometimes a dozen bombers in one morning. German aces quickly mastered the aircraft and turned it into a symbol of desperate hope. But the Allies adapted with terrifying speed. More escorts, more patrols, more ambushes above the very runways the jets needed to survive. Me-262s were shot down while climbing, shot down while landing, shot down while trying to restart a dying engine. Many pilots never even fired a single round before being hunted and destroyed. The jet offered Germany a chance to hit back, but every sortie was a gamble and the war on the ground was already lost. Yet even as the Me-262 failed to change the outcome of the war, it succeeded in changing something far bigger. You will see that impact next. Tactically, the Me-262 sent shockwaves through the Allied air campaign. Bomber formations tightened, escort fighters doubled, routes, altitudes, and attack windows were changed. A single radar warning of a jet scramble forced entire groups to prepare for a threat they could not outrun. But strategically, the Me-262 arrived far too late and in numbers far too small. It frustrated the Allies. It complicated their missions, but it never stopped the relentless stream of bombers destroying German fuel plants, rail lines, and industrial centers. Its deeper impact came after the war. The Me-262 forced every major power to accept one fact: the age of piston aircraft was over. Jet propulsion was the only future, but the jet also delivered a second lesson, one even more important. Advanced technology is worthless without the training, logistics, and strategy required to use it. Those two lessons shaped the air forces of the Cold War. And that leads us to the final legacy of the aircraft that was born too early and died too soon. After the war, the Me-262 became the most studied aircraft on Earth. The United States, the Soviet Union, and the United Kingdom disassembled captured jets piece by piece, flew them, measured them, and absorbed every insight they offered. Swept wings, high-speed interception, concentrated nose-mounted firepower. All of it appeared again in the next generation of fighters, the F-86 Sabre, the MiG-15, and soon the first supersonic aircraft of the Cold War. In their DNA, the Me-262 lived on, but the jet itself did not survive the new era it created. It was too fragile, too limited, too far ahead of its infrastructure. Today, restored Me-262s fly only at air shows, reminders of a brutal truth. Winning the race for technology does not mean winning the war. If one sentence can summarize the Me-262, it is this: it won the race for innovation, but lost the race against time. And that is the warning it leaves for every modern military experimenting with miracle technologies today. Are they building the future or repeating the tragedy of the Me-262?